everybody, welcome to my YouTube channel. This is 2022 and we are back with the Donna E. Knight Motivation and Wellness Series. I am so excited about the series that we're starting out for 2022. This series is called Starting Your Spiritual Journey. I think this is the best time more than ever for people to start their spiritual journey. We just got through COVID. Well, we really didn't get through COVID. We still in COVID, but we survived COVID and we're here. And I think this is a really good time for people to, start thinking about their spiritual journey, what it means to them, and how important it is. So this series is going to be a 3-part series where we're going to discuss our spiritual journey, and the emphasis is on the mind, the body, and the spirit. And I am so excited that I have a guest with me today. Yay! This is Miss Zulika Ladale Gibbs. This is my childhood friend. We have been friends all of our lives, and I wanted to invite her to be on the series today because I think she has an amazing story that she's going to share with you guys in a little bit. And I want you all to hear her feedback and her insight on her spiritual journey and things that she has done through the years to increase her spirituality. So I'm excited. We're going to share that story in just a minute, and we'll be right back. Hi everyone, welcome to the channel. This series we are exploring the spiritual journey. This is a life journey you choose to take by becoming connected with your inner self. On this journey, you discover the importance of wholeness, which is being in tune with your mind, your body, and your spirit. On this journey, you form a deeper connection with yourself, and you begin to understand that peace and bliss are connected to your physical and your mental health. This series is seeking to define the spiritual journey by listening to stories of powerful overcomers who have overcome challenges and formulated and redefined their spiritual journey. Here's our first story. I want Ladale to give you all an introduction of who she is. My friend, take it away.
Hi, I am Zulika Ladale Gibbs, and I am a mom of 3. A daughter, 22, 2 sons, 18 and 17. And I'm here to share my story.
Yeah, and thinking about my new YouTube series, and I wanted it to be able to reach a lot of people, and more than importantly, I wanted it to be able to influence people to make a change in their life if they wanted to, because I feel like life is all about evolution and change. Like, I don't think we should be the same people that we were when we were 18.
No, ma'am.
I think we should be evolved. So the first thing is, because we're talking about the mind, the body, and the spirit. I have read a lot of books on mind, body, and spirit, which I'm going to show you guys later, and I'm going to link them in the YouTube video. But a lot of the books tell us that the first thing that controls everything in our life is our mind. And if your mind is not conditioned right, or thinking right, or not on track, and one thing we have to realize is, and I wrote this down to make a note to say, is that our mind is not the brain. Like, we get that confused. We think that our mind is here, but really the mind is here. And the mind is our thoughts, our emotions, and our actions. And if we don't have our thoughts, emotions, and actions in place, it can affect our health, our mental health, and physical health. And it can just affect the overall happiness of our life. Because I'm trying to be happy when I wake up every day.
I'm trying my
I don't want to
happy
be
and peaceful.
Happy and peaceful every day. So I'm going to let Ladale tell you all a little bit about what happened with her, and, how she found out, and then just let them know, how you overcame the fear. Because one thing fear can do, fear is crippling.
It will take you out.
It will take you out.
It will take you out. Yes, ma'am.
And overcome. And when you were telling the story, I felt like you were so brave. I didn't see fear in you. And it just reminded me of my dad, like how tough you were when you were and I guess you have to be that way.
Because if you don't, it will take you completely out. It will attack your mind. Yeah. And once it attacks your mind, it's just going to trickle on down. You're not going to want to do anything. You're going to be depressed. And I refuse
to do that.
I refuse.
Well, tell them your story. Tell them how you find out, when this happened, and how you found out.
So I found out in October the 15th of 2021. Just going in for a basic routine checkup with my gynecologist, getting my yearly exam. and there was a lump that was found on my left breast, and she was like, "Do you feel that?" And I was like, really didn't feel anything, but it's kind of really hard to know what you're looking for when you really don't know what you're looking for, you know, when you really haven't been told.
I know.
You know, and then, you know, that time of month, you know, it kind of changed, the feeling changed, so you really don't know. You may, it feels kind of strange, but you really don't know. But she was like, well, it kind of feels strange. I'm not really concerned about it, but I really want you to go and you know, get it checked out. And mind you, I was just 39 years old, so I haven't had a mammogram or anything for that reason. So I go get the mammogram, and nothing shows up on the mammogram. It's like, well, everything looks like it's normal, you know, we don't see anything on the mammogram. But since it's your first time, let us do a sonogram and see what we can see. You know, so we can have a base of when you come back. So I went and had the sonogram, and when I had the sonogram, the doctor was like, "Oh, wait a minute, let me go get somebody else because something here is not looking right."
And I know
and right in that moment, I was like, "No, look right. What you mean? Let me see." She's like, "Well, you see this area right here? It's kind of got a shadow over it." She said, "Most of the time, it's kind of like a mask."
So she showed you the actual what they were viewing.
She showed me actually what was being said, and I was like, "Oh." I was like, surely not, you know. She was like, it don't look right. So the doctor came in and she was like, yeah, we need to get a biopsy of this. And she was like, well, we just had an appointment to come open today at 1 if you want to take that appointment. If not, you're going to have to wait 2 to 3 weeks to get back in here. So I was like, nah, I don't want to have to go through the waiting process. So I went on and I took the appointment. It was on a Wednesday. They did the biopsy, and that Friday, on the 15th, she called me and told me, she said, yes, it is cancer. It's a grade 1 cancer, and she just told me right off the bat, you don't have to be afraid. She was like, I know it's a lot. I'm just going to give you this information and let you deal with it and handle it the way that you see. After I kind of cried and wept and hollered and screamed and jumped and hit and kicked and whatever else I did.
So you like had to get all your emotions.
I felt like it all just came out. I feel like
which I think that was really healthy though.
I do too. I think that's what got me to the point where I could really actually sit down and think about, hey, look, what do I need to ask the doctor? Or you know, trying to figure out what my next steps were. Right. Because I've never been any kind of sickness. I ain't had anything like go to do my checkups every year. So it was like. It was something different for me to have to go to the doctor. Every time you turn around, you got to go to the doctor. It was just something different because I've never had to do that. Right. So I think that I got all of it, the fact that I got all of it out and actually, you know, kind of clear my head to sit down and have like a baseline to actually start to try to heal myself. Not only heal myself, I wanted to heal myself, but I wanted to make sure I heal myself so I could be here for my children.
Wow. Okay, so I think that's a powerful statement, you know, that you were saying is that after I got my emotions out and you got everything lined out, the next thing you really went into was like, okay, let me come up with my game plan. So, you know, and sometimes when we're dealing with sickness and illness, I think some people feel like a sickness or illness can be like, oh, this is this curse that God has, this is this cross that he wants me to bear, and I'm just gonna bear it. And your mind never went that way. You went straight into I went
straight into fight mode. I put on my boxing gloves, honey, and I said I was fighting this thing, and that's exactly what I did. And I went and I kind of like, what food do I need to eat? What food do I not need to eat? What attacks this thing? What doesn't attack it? What do I need to consume more of? Or what do I need to take more out? Right. But
and I want to say this too before I forget. And I like the fact that you say you took ownership of your body. And that's another thing that I don't think, particularly in the Black community, that we do enough of either.
Not at all.
I do not think that we realize that we have more power over our body than we think. Even if it's just the food you're eating.
What you put in your body is you.
A lot of foods that are in the grocery store are cancerous foods. And we talked about this when we went to brunch. Sugar is known to cause cancer.
it will feed it and make it grow faster.
Yes.
So I mean,
so you found that in your research.
I found that like it will feed the cancer, and it would also make it grow faster.
The more sugar
the more sugar that you eat. Of course, we gotta have sugar in our body. Of course, we gotta have that in our body, but
our body naturally makes sugar.
It naturally makes it. Like you gotta have sugar. Yeah, we gotta have sugar. But in my research, I found out that berries were good for cancer. Eat your berries. Berries have sugar in it. You know, small things that you can do. Chicken is one of the things that was the worst.
Wow.
Just because of all the hormones. For me, it was because my cancer was hormone fed. So that means that all the hormones that I'm getting from chicken is actually feeding the cancer as well.
So making it worse.
Making it worse.
So did you alleviate chicken from your diet?
I do not eat chicken. I do not.
Ownership. And so before we go any further, I think we need to make this disclaimer that my dear friend is cancer
free.
What? She is a conqueror over her mind, her body, and her spirit, and that's another reason I thought you were such a good candidate, because like everything you're saying today is what I wish more people in our community would do. Is like take ownership of it and say, how can I get in front of this thing? Don't be afraid to get your emotions out. I think that's like,
and it just if you could just do small things to get there, because you're not gonna get there all at once.
Yeah,
you didn't get in the situation that you were in at once, so you're definitely not gonna come out at once. But just change small things, and I mean that's in anything that you do. Your mind, the way you think. If you think a different type of way and you want to do something different, just change it. Like just take one step at a time, and eventually you'll get to you know where you want to be.
Right. About how you met with the doctor and y'all were trying to determine where your cancer came from and what caused it. If you would share that like is a really good story.
I wanted to know, like, hey, look, where did this thing come from? And so we started with a genetics test. So we did the genetics test. So my genetics came
I gotta ask you this, how did you even know to do that? I don't even think I would have known to do that.
I was just looking online. I was just finding everything that I know to find. And I had a coworker that kind of went through a similar situation. Not really, it would end up not being cancer, but it's kind of similar. She was wondering why she was having some kind of breathing trouble or something, and she was staying like behind a railroad track or something in New Jersey, New York somewhere, and they were saying fumes from that could have been from it. So she wanted to rule out genetics before she went that way. Okay. So what I did was, you know, her and I was having a conversation, and she was like, "Girl, you should do the genetics test." And when she told me about it, I went and looked it up and, you know, seen what all that was about. So I asked my doctor, "Hey, look, can we do the genetics to make sure it's not genetics?" So we did that, and it came out negative. So from there, he was like, "Well, you know, we can kind of, you know," started asking me questions. And the first question he asked was, "Had you say birth control?" And I was like, "Well, I took the pills years ago." I said, "But I had an IU, and I was back on the pills at that time, but I had recently took myself off like a year before that because I started having night sweats." And I'm like, "What are these night sweats coming from?" So I was asking the doctor about that, and she was like, "I thought it might have been thyroids," and we did the thyroid test. Nothing, everything came back negative. So he was like, "Well, what about an IUD?" And I was like, "Well, I had an IUD about 6 years ago. I got it taken out about 6 years ago." And he said, "And you telling me that you had night sweats?" I said, "Yes, I'm talking about where somebody looked like somebody actually poured water on me when I wake up in the morning." Bad? It's that bad.
Oh, wow.
Like sweating, like I don't sweat that way when I work out. So I'm like, yeah. He said, "I'm just going to stop you right there and tell you had an IUD, and you telling me that you had a little complications with your IUD, and you telling me about your night sweats." He said, "I am willing to bet you that this has been in your body for about 4 or 5 years."
Wow.
And it actually probably pinpoint from your IUD.
Wow.
Because the hormones, it sends so much hormones out into your body. And he said he's willing to bet that that's where it came from.
I think that is so interesting. So when he told you that, was that like a relief to say, okay, whew, so now I know what caused it. I know not, you know, do that again. Was it a relief?
It was a relief, because I was thinking, like, because, you know, you always have it back in your mind, because people always try to tell you, oh, just because you get rid of it, that don't mean it can't come back, or there's nothing you can do to keep it from coming back or whatever. But I can change what I know.
Absolutely.
That will make it reappear in my body.
So were people really telling you that?
Girl, you'd be surprised of what people will come to you and tell you about, because they went through a situation. Oh, I had it and it was gone for 5 years and it came back, or this and that. People they really say some mean things. But if you're not strong enough to say, hey, your thoughts are your thoughts, you can think that way. If that helped you, that ain't gonna help me.
Right.
Because I know that life and death lies in the tongue, and I'm not speaking that over my body or myself. I'm not doing that. So, you kind of have to set some boundaries, for people, that's why some people don't want to come out and say, hey, look, I've been through this situation, because of what people is going to come and say to them.
Okay, Ladale, so share with everybody, because, kind of like as life goes, as life evolves, I don't know, like for me, I guess I can say, I started trying to like go on the inside of my like spirit self and go deeper and try to see the deeper meaning of stuff. And like, when you're trying to understand people, you get out in the work world, stuff start getting on your nerves, driving you crazy. And I'm like, I can't fight the world.
You can't.
I can't fight this world. So, like with the things that you have seen in your 40 years.
I'm glad.
So the things that you've seen, like how has it changed you spiritually? Like what did it do for your spiritual journey? I would say for the past 10 years, because I've seen a drastic change in the past 10 years with myself.
I guess you can say dealing with people is hard.
It's hard.
It's really hard, especially when you have. I can just take it for just for a reference, I guess. Being a mother to 3 different children, you can't treat one the same as you treat the other.
That's true.
Each
one is different.
Each one is different. So you have to learn how to, I guess, say just like a love language. I recently had my kids to do a love language test.
Oh, that's cool. So what is it?
So my I went online. Well, actually, I went to therapy.
Okay, let's talk about it.
I got me a therapist. Best thing that I could have done. I wish I would have done it years ago. But
now that is frowned upon in our community. So how did you break that fear of? Because you tell somebody, a black person, if you say, "Girl, I'm going to therapy." How did you break that to be able to be comfortable?
Well, I guess the reason why I got there, because after going through the cancer and my daughter's going to school for psychiatrist or whatever, she was like, Mom, you need to go to therapy. You don't do this, you don't do that. You need to, it's real, it will help you. And I'm just like, girl, you think you know everything.
So you dismissed
you know everything. I mean, she's been saying it for, I'm gonna say maybe 3-4 years. She had been saying
that long.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I was just, how you just brush it off because they think they know everything.
Right.
So I just brushed it off. But when I actually went and researched and found somebody that I thought I could connect to, and had set up that first appointment, and after that first appointment, how I felt like I could float.
Really?
It felt like I had somebody that wasn't judgmental towards me, that was really trying to give me, pointers on what I can do to help me in different areas, and just say, hey, look, we can take it, break it down and tell me how we're gonna do the session, what is something that you want to talk about, give you books to read, just to, you tell them the story of what type of person you want to be, and them helping get to that point.
I love the way you said
them helping you to get to that point, only if you're willing to do the work and listen here. So I was just telling her about the difference between my children, and she was like, girl, that's how it's gonna be. You got 3, they not the same. People think because you mother into 3 kids, you can mother them. You can't treat them the same if you want them to blossom and be the person that they put on earth to be.
Yeah.
You can't treat them the same. So that's what we started at.
But that's one of the things that Charlotte said on the Breakfast Club is that at first he was skeptical of therapy because therapy is so frowned upon in our community. But a lot of us are dealing with unprocessed trauma. And then another thing, he don't
how you, and it kind of like
you
shut it down.
You shut it down. And he said that was him. And he said exactly what you said, Ladale. He said he will always continue to go to therapy to process because he I think he said he's been going to therapy for like 3 or 4 years. And he said it has really helped. It really has helped him.
It has helped me.
I think that's amazing. And I think that shows that like talking about things, like we just said, with no judgment is the best. It's the best thing.
It's the best because people don't want to open up. They don't want to open up
for fear of judgment.
That's just like a kid that don't want to come to you and tell you about the issue that they got because they know you're gonna deal with it. And I know my kids have told me that we didn't tell you. You gonna get mad. You gonna get mad off us and we gonna be fucked. You know. So I mean, I still do a little bit.
And you know what? I've always wanted to deal with life, and I think it does have to do with how we were raised. Because I think pretty much all black families were raised the same. You know what I'm saying? But I have wanted it too because Lakeland tells me all the time. Well, everybody in my house tells me that I'm a yeller, and I'm like, I'm not a yeller. But then I thought about it. I said I'm a yeller.
And see, sometimes I say that too. They tell me that you just fuss and yell all the time. But sometimes it's just the tone that I've always talked in. I've always talked in that tone.
When you trying to get your point across.
Yeah. And it's not that I'm really yelling. I'm just trying to get it across.
You don't feel like you're yelling, do you? I don't either. But Lakeland tell all my kids tell me, and Lee tell me like you're a yeller. All you do is yell. And I really haven't worked on that for the past 2 years. Like I'm not yelling. And I think I'm doing better regardless what the haters may say. What did you say earlier?
You can see your own growth.
I see my growth, no matter how small or minute. Oh my gosh, thank you so much for tuning in with us today. I know we covered a little bit of everything, but I really wanted us to touch on the mind, the body, and the spirit, and the constant work that it takes to be a better person every single day. And like Dale was saying earlier, it's not just one day you wake up and you're just this new person and you're perfect. I really believe it's a lifelong journey. It's like I believe we'll be working on ourselves
forever.
And
I'll be going to therapy forever.
But you know what? I really truly believe that is part of God's plan for our life. It's like saying how good of a person can you become while I have you on this earthly vessel. Because after this is the next phase, our higher phase into the heavens. So how good can we become here? So I think we're on target here. Me too, girl. Alright, so thank you guys for joining us again. Look, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to leave comments. I'm going to try to put some. Ladale gave us some great tools today. I'm going to get her to share some of the links with me so I can share those links with you guys. I love the love language test. I got to give that to mine. And so I'll be putting that information in the comment section below. You leave a comment. Don't forget to subscribe. How many times I gotta tell you? Don't forget to subscribe. And again, I love you guys for watching. Ladale, is there anything else?
Oh, ma'am, that's it.
All right. Thank you guys. See you next time. This thing can't be squeaking in my video.
Let me see. I
So,
can see it.
y'all got some WD-40? Okay, we are 40. Oh. So,
But we look good.
Yes.
We look good.
Yes. And so I feel like